Charlotte.
It's lovely to have you on the In Touch With podcast because we want to bring our management and marketing teams closer to our beauty advisors. So tell me, Edwina, what is your role at Clarins?
My role, it's a bit of a mouthful, is the Social and Digital Media Manager.
That is so good to hear, because to that, it's music to all of our ears. We've got the existing customer covered, but what we do need, all of us at every counter, is new customers. So we'd love to hear for the launch of
Total Eye Lift.
See, it's a double act. I'd love to hear what your plans are for us to get some new customers at our counters.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you, our beauty advisors. This is such a symbiotic relationship. You guys truly are at the heart of everything we do for social digital, because our job, of course, as Charlotte mentioned, is to bring new leads, new foot traffic to your counter. And your job, apart from closing the sale, which is of course the most important thing,
yes,
is to gather as much information as possible about those people who are coming to counter so that we can use that information to better target our campaigns going forward.
So Edwina, that sounds so exciting. So tell me, how do you go about doing that?
It's really quite a simple process, very complex in other ways, but if I could break it down, we call it the paid, owned, earned triangle. So let's start to talk about paid.
Great. Paid. We love a bit of paid.
Paid advertising. Traditionally, when you think about paid advertising, we might think about putting an ad on television, a print advertisement in a magazine, maybe in Vogue or Harper's Bazaar. But it's really so much more rich than that. And the wonderful and exciting thing about social and digital is that we can get that instant feedback and we can reach thousands and thousands of new leads, pop them all into the top of that funnel. I'm sure all the sales girls know when I talk about the sales funnel and leads. And at the end, push out people who want to know more about Clarins, maybe have heard about Clarins and are curious to walk into counter and actually be shown how to use the products.
Great, because that's where we come in.
That's exactly right. Our job is to get as many leads as possible and then lead them to your counter.
So we've paid. Now what do we do?
Now we have to think about, when you think about that word of mouth, which is probably the traditional way of thinking it, that one-to-one, your best friend or your neighbor recommends a product that's done amazing things for them. We know that not every customer or potential customer is going to walk up to the counter and say, tell me about Clarins. They might want to be a little bit convinced first by a third party, someone who's quite authoritative, but who doesn't have an affiliation with the brand. So that's when we talk about earned media. We work with traditionally journalists. Now these days we would talk about KOLs or influencers, and what we do is work with them by gifting them product, giving them an opportunity to try it, and then telling their friends, their family, their followers all about the product, which is really helping drive that consideration of Clarins to our target audience.
Amazing. So, Edwina.
The apex of the triangle.
Oh my God, the crescendo.
The crescendo, our owned media channels.
Woo!
When we think about owned, we think about literally the real estate that we own, the counters, our brand.com. It's the fullest expression of our brand. It's the place where customers come to get all of the brand storytelling, all of the expertise. And that really comes down to you, our beauty advisors in our department stores and our pharmacies, for representing the brand in its fullest expression. Customers are going to be coming to your counters to learn about the brand. They're wanting to be sold on the product. They're coming to you for your expertise, for your high touch service, and for that one-to-one engagement that they can't get through either of the other channels.
And I think that's the exciting thing for all of us about social and digital, is it is an exciting space, but you don't get that touch. And I suppose that's why it's a perfect marriage, beauty advisor and social and digital. One can't exist without the other.
We absolutely can't function without you. You are so important at the core of everything we do.
Edwina, that sounds exciting to the max. And so I have to ask you, what can we do for you to help to drive that process successfully?
Well, thank you so much for asking. The most important thing, and I'm speaking directly to camera to the beauty advisors, is getting quality data. The more information you can collect about the customers who are coming to your counter, the better we can build advertising strategies that speak to that customer and people like her. So again, it's that symbiotic relationship. We work with each other.
So actually, all roads lead to My C, as is always the case in the Clarins business. So now it is over to you to collect data on your customers, to make sure that data is very, very correct in each case, so that that customer gets the opportunity to hear about all the exciting things that we're doing in social and digital. Thank you, Edwina, and please join us again on In Touch With.